glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Turn to the person next to you and say, I'm so glad Brad's here. No, I'm kidding. I'm so glad you're here. So glad you're here. Once I was running to get on an airplane, and I ran so hard, and I don't run, but I was like, I can't miss this flight, and I ran, and then I got on the airplane, and I got all my stuff through, and it was one of those moments where right as I'm going through the door, the lady's like, oh, you're the last one on the plane. I was like, yes, and I ran in, dripping sweat, and I find my seat, and the person next to me goes, oh, I was hoping you wouldn't show up. And I thought, that's probably the meanest combination of words you can say to a person, especially if you've never met them. Like, you actively were hoping their presence would not happen. But you all, this room, like you've made everybody feel like, I am not only glad you're here, I'm going to stand up and applaud the fact that you exist. And I want to do the same for you. I want to applaud the fact that you do not just exist, but you make existence better and brighter for everybody in your orbit. This is a group of people who, what you're doing impacts so many. I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm grateful to be in your midst, and I'm better for it. I want to begin with the story, and this is a story that might encapsulate the moment that we're all in. This is the dumpster fire and the garden. So once there was this girl, she was just going about her day when something made her stop, look, and shout, whoa, hey. It was big, and it was bold, and it had flames that just went higher and higher. There it was in front of the girl, a giant dumpster fire. The dumpster fire smelled like warm trash and animal decay, but something about it, the girl just simply couldn't look away. It's beautiful, she said. Her eyes grew wider and wider. People were adding their trash to it, and she thought, ooh, I want to try. So she added her trash to the dumpster fire, an angry and thoughtless chore. And she danced and watched the flames get higher and grow more and more and more. But as the flames grew and grew, the girl grew sadder too. Is this all that's meant for me, she asked. So she decided to explore something else. So through the fog and smoke she walked and then wiped her cloudy eyes and came upon a woman who looked peaceful, happy, and wise. What are you doing? You're just staring at a pile of dirt, said the girl. Come, this is the garden. Stop, pause, tend, and heal your hurts. Soon there was planting and there was tending and so much waiting for transcending. The little girl missed the quickness of the dumpster fire, but soon her hurts, they started mending. Soon, as she thought, there were blossoms growing. She saw that the flowers were blooming and blossoming, and there in front of her was no longer just a pile of dirt, but a big pile of possibility. Good things grow when we leave the pointless fire and tend a loving garden. That's a thing that you and I can learn if we just stop now and again. The dumpster fire grew smaller, but it never fully went away. But the garden grew and grew, and it was a blessing to every person who came its way. Now, for every person hearing this, a decision must be made. Be distracted and feed the dumpster fire, or tend the garden of good today. Thank you. So one of the things that has been helpful to me was to realize all of the ways and places and times in which I was mesmerized by a dumpster fire. And I thought maybe the answer was just to dance by it and be like, okay, this is good. But then I felt, maybe you felt this too, like, okay, there's got to be more. Maybe that's why you're in the role you're in. Maybe that's why you're on the mission you're on, because you've realized there's something more. And we can build it. And I know in this room, there's a whole bunch of folks who show up day after day, and it confuses people because you show up and you tend to a garden. While everything else is flashy and quick, you're showing up every single day to chip away, because you have the seeds of something beautiful. So when I say I'm happy you're here, I mean I'm happy you are here on this planet in this time to do the work you're doing. As we send you out today, I'm going to share with you a few things that I've been learning as I spend time with kids and former kids, as I share stories, and I've been learning a few things that I hope can help you understand just how much better the world is simply because you are here. Every person here is wanting to make the world better, and one of the things I want you to know is that you make the world better just by being here. One of the last times I did an event for Chick-fil-A, one of the first times, they asked me how much I charged, and I said, just pay me in Polynesian sauce. and this box of Polynesian sauce showed up at my house. And so I was telling our kids, we have a 7-year-old and 9-year-old, and our 7-year-old was like, you're going to Chick-fil-A? Tell them to pay us in chicken minis. Like, oh, girl, that would be great. So if you're hearing this, we can give you our address later. There's this song that we all know, the Disney song, A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes, and this really beautiful melody. And I love that we're in a room of people who know that melody and feel it, but you also know that there's this little marker there beside it, that a dream is actually something you fight tooth and nail for every single day because it's super difficult to bring the intangible into the tangible world. Yet you know it is possible if you can just make your priorities to be in line with your purpose. Now, that doesn't fit in a little song. I don't think that's why it was in Sleeping Beauty. That's in Sleeping Beauty, yeah? One of those? We'll check Wikipedia later. But wherever you are in your dream-making process, there's this map here that I've made that details several places I visit all throughout the day. There's the story-filled sky. There's Inspiration Island, and maybe today's been Inspiration Island for you. I have a houseboat over at the Sea of Insecurity. I'm going to fall off the stage as I say that, which would be great. Comparison Canyon, maybe you've been there where you are looking over it. Oh, look at what they're doing. Oh, look at what that guy's wearing. Oh, look at this. Doubt Valley, maybe that place of uncertainty, the cliff of comfort, the winds of change. There's so many places you can be. And I've traveled that map. I've been on every place at it. And maybe you today have been all over that map. But a place that we need you is that campfire there. This campfire is a place of warmth. It's a bonfire of belonging. And it's the kind of thing you can create for yourself and for all the people out there to know that they can listen and be heard. It's a place where you can share the things you've learned as you've explored. A place where you can hear all the things other people have explored. Let's give a hand to the team that put together this bonfire today, this event, what you do. Because it is important. It's so important to go to the Minds of Hustle and do the work, to do all the stuff, but we need you at the campfire. It's a thing I want every fourth grader to know, that I visit their classrooms. I want them to know, hey, we want you to explore, but come back to the campfire. Tell us what you're learning and hear a story. Just as we gathered and heard stories, and we need these right now. We really need to come together and share stories of what we've been learning, what we've been seeing, as we are rebuilding, as we are reimagining. You have every person here has experienced loss, has experienced challenges, and we can all build something beautiful together. But the thing is that we cannot build a better world. We cannot add joy to the world if we don't have it ourselves. We cannot add peace to the world if you don't have it yourself. You have challenged your teams today. You've had so many big ideas. Some brilliant people have spoken today who I have so much respect for, and they've shared things, and you have big dreams that you've put in your phones. Maybe you've been texting people all day, and maybe you've got in your notes, you've been writing down all these big things you want to do. And before we send you out, I just want you to know you cannot add anything to the world you yourself don't have. You can't add wonder to the world if you don't have it. Peace, joy, hope, all of these things. So in these last few moments, this is for you mighty change makers, you little joy rebels, you crazy people who want to make things better. May you know peace and joy and bring that with you. If you've been discouraged, this is a little thing I made for advice for discouraged sailors. because I have been a discouraged sailor, especially the last couple of years. I love being with people, and I could not be with people. I love speaking with people, and I did virtual events, but then at the end, I just would close my laptop after pouring my heart out, and I'd be like, okay, I guess that went well, I don't know. So one of the things that has been helpful to me is to stop, to steady my little boat and study my compass, and then seek the wind. I don't know what today was for you. I know it did cause you to stop your normal rhythm, normal routine, to steady that boat. But I hope you can continue to study your compass and really find your wind and know that you've got some travel mates here who can go with you. How do we take all this with us? Because every single person here is here because you want to make an impact. You want to be part of making a dent for good. And how can we take this away today? How can you take this with you, with your team? Because it's going to get bumpy. It's going to get messy. There's going to be times where it's not inspiring. There's going to be phone calls that are not encouraging. There's going to be things that are going to come your way in the messy middle. So a few things for you. Number one is, how do you take all of today with you? How can you take what you've learned, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're dreaming? Is to know that attention is a superpower. We are in the middle of a time in which attention, it's a war for everyone's attention. A war for, there's chicken sandwich wars, there's streaming wars, there's all these wars, but it's all essentially a war for our attention. And there's going to be a lot of things wanting to get your attention. You've written things down today. May you not lose that focus on where you want to go. With attention as your superpower, there's going to be a lot of things trying to hey, look over here. Hey, listen to this. Hey, this is important. Hey, this is really cool. What's been helpful for me is having things in my past that bring me back to what are really the vitals. There's a wonderful book, many of you may know, a children's book, in The Little Prince, where he says, what is essential is invisible to the eye. And there's so many things we can see that's success. Oh, that's success. So many names and titles and objects that we can actually see with our eyes. But what's actually essential about the work you do, what's actually essential about you and the people at your table, are the things that we cannot see. Those essential invisibles that make your team so incredible. And to come back to those essential invisibles has had to become a habit of visiting classrooms, of being with children, of being in spaces where there are people who remind me of those invisible things. I created an 800 number, and I posted it online and said that this was the little guardian angel help desk, and that you can call and tell me anytime you've seen something that brought you hope. And so the help desk, there's this number, and said there's a little guy who's going to be hearing it, so you can just call. And as I posted this, I got hundreds of voicemail messages. And for the first time in my life, I actually enjoyed checking my voicemail. I had so many messages, and I've gotten thousands of these little voicemails of people noticing things. Of them stopping, not just noticing a thing, but then telling somebody else about it. And so here's some audio here.
Okay, first, this is so cool.
Can't believe this is actually real.
This is awesome.
First-time caller, long-time listener.
Don't really know what to say.
Hi, help desk. I was wondering.
I'm just curious.
I guess what I would love to know is...
Hi. Today I had an incident.
I had a lot on my mind.
I'm
tired.
How do you...
So, I was mainly just calling to see if the number worked, and it does. So, that's awesome. This totally just made my day.
So fun. Some people would call in the middle of dinner. They would get their family together. Some classrooms would call and leave messages. But it was all people sharing things. And I got this inside glimpse at actually being able to hear what's going on inside of people. People would open up about the best thing that happened to them that week, or they'd open up about the worst thing they were going through. And it was just them stopping and noticing and then sharing. And as I did that, the more I paid attention to other people paying attention, the more I heard all of these messages, no matter what context they were in or what variety of things that they were sharing, they were all essentially saying, I'm just a human being who wants to be loved. I would hear voices that sounded really deep and tough. I would hear little bitty children's voices. and every voice in between, and they were all just human beings who wanted to be loved. All of your critics, all of your champions, all of those people who love and support you, all of those people who are like, what are you up to? What are you doing? All just human beings who want to be loved. And you are perfectly positioned to do just that. To let every single person in your midst know they already are what they most long to be, deeply loved, and they can be part of a mission with you to show other people that. I've found it to be true no matter who it is, no matter who's on the cover of the newspaper. We started a project where no matter what's on the cover of the newspaper, I would place that and then realize that it was always applicable. All just human beings who want to be loved. This is a photo of Beyonce finding me utterly charming. We were filming with her, and it was, she loved me. It went really well between us. One of the things that was interesting is I was so nervous because it's Beyonce. She just has one name. Like, it's just Beyonce. And she came in, and I was like, I got to be totally on game here. We're going to direct this video. It's going to go great. And what was really interesting is I was so nervous to film with her, but yet at the very end of it, we wrap up, and she looks at me, this pale, weird man from a small town in Tennessee, and she looks at me and goes, was that okay? Did I do okay? Am I okay? Can I do that again? And I was like, is she looking at Jay-Z? Like, is he behind me or something? She wants me to and I just went, you're Beyonce. It was fine. It was, yeah, you're great. And over this happened, though, because I found myself in situations where we filmed at the UN. The world called me and we're filming there. We filmed with the President Obama. I'm in the office there with him, in his office. And then right after, he's like, was that okay? I was like, you're the president, yeah. People who had won awards, who were like highly celebrated. And then this weird little guy from Tennessee, got to look at them and say, yeah, you're okay. And you're more than that. You're helping us let other kids know that they are. And it was this awakening of realizing I thought I was just making silly videos on the internet, but when you show up, no matter what your task is, you can find yourself making a really big impact. And you realize these are all just people who want to be loved. Here's to noticing. This is a little video I made with my kids about that.
A brief dive to noticing. Right now, somewhere someone is performing surgery on a heart. Somewhere someone is returning a grocery cart. There's so many acts of love that'll make the world go round today. Some will be noticed and some will not, but we need them anyway. Little things are big things, even if they do not make the news. Like a daddy bending down to tie his daughter's shoes. People feeding little birds. People listening to others' words. People doing daily tasks. People smiling, even through masks. There's so much good to notice. Look, I guarantee it. There's magic all around you. Don't get so busy you cannot see it.
So something that I want to challenge you to do is you've written down all of these things that you want to make happen around you. And today, may you be fiercely focused on what really matters. Fiercely focused in a world in which there's a loud dumpster fire around you, calling for your attention every now and then, seeming a bit alluring. Maybe you could add some trash to that, dance beside it, keep tending that garden of good. How do you bring people into it with you? How do you have them go with you? Because there's people who weren't here. There's people on your board who weren't around. There's other people that aren't here, and they didn't get to feel the thing you're feeling. And how do you have them notice? Because they're in the messy middle. This is me in a drive-thru. A friend sent me this picture. He was apparently behind me, and he texted this picture to me and went, so, you having a rough day? It was the morning. I hadn't had coffee yet, and so I was like, oh, man, like, yikes. Now, I'm normally a very happy person, but that was, I don't like waiting in line, and the sun was in my eyes. And you're going to have those moments where somebody's going to catch you off guard, like, what's wrong with her? what's going on with him? Here's why people will follow you and go around, is because they will buy in to the joyful vision of the future that you're marching towards. They're going to realize that you are not just a person showing up to do a job, but you are a joy rebel, joyfully rebelling against what is to create what could be. When people see you having fun, when people see you joyfully engaging in something good, they're going to want to be a joy rebel with you. You're going to joyfully go into it and reimagine what's possible. Imagination is a word that has become considered for children. We think about, having a big imagination and imagining stories with unicorns and cupcakes and all of those things, and yet you are people who have imagination for what is possible, who are reimagining your imagination, who've already imagined something beautiful for the world and went, let's edit that and add this and invite more people into it. May you be wildly imaginative about what is possible and show people that they have not even begun to imagine what's possible. When they see what the difference they can make. We started a project several years back where we declared the month of October Socktober. The idea being that this is a time in which people are getting ready for the winter months, especially your shelters. And that there are so many men and women who have basic needs. And so for these shelters, as they prepare for the winter, there's basic things they need. And socks are one of the most needed, least donated items. So we have children all over the world now. This is a thing that's happening in every single country right in the month of October where they have Socktober drives. And the way kids do it is with parties, with sock hops, with giant monster boxes. It's like boxes that look like monsters, and they feed the monster with socks. And they're bringing people into it. This is a group of kids doing a Socktober drive, and seeing them do this is incredible to me. And they're constantly, it's sparking their imagination even more, because then they go, if we did this, what else could we do for our neighbors who are homeless? If we could make this happen, what else could we do? And then our job is just to notice what they're dreaming and say, okay, let's go with you. As we dream, your imagination, this is a Mark Twain quote, that you can't depend on your eyes when your imagination is out of focus. And I feel this right now, that in a lot of ways, my imagination has been out of focus. The past couple months years have been jarring. Where I had an idea of where I was headed and what was going to be going on, and things got cloudy. And I hope for you that your imagination can defog, that you can begin to have your imagination come back into focus, because how we imagine affects how we love. How I imagine where we're going, how I imagine who the people are around me, it deeply affects how we love. This is Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. I showed up at a dinner with tables similar to this that had nameplates, and there was a nameplate for me, and then next to it was Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, and I went, oh no. Because this is nerve-wracking when you show up at things and people ask you, so what do you do? And I did not want to tell her I make silly videos on the internet, because I know what she does. She's Supreme Court Justices. I just make content. And we're sitting at this dinner, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. I'm eating. I'm wearing a tie. I'm being on my best behavior. And you know what she says to me? Hey, so what do you love about what you do, Brad? And you know what happened? I told her. I went, I love getting to work with kids. I love seeing their eyes light up when they realize just how much they matter. I love working with adults and having them understand the impact they can make. I love working with my family. I love creating things. I love seeing a thing that didn't exist and then now it does. I love it. And then I was like, oh man, she got me. She tricked me. How'd she do that? She worked magic on me. There's this little turn of phrase, not just, so what do you do? It was, what do you love about what you do? At the end of the night, I asked her, why did you ask this question? Because she asked other people that. What do you love about what you do? And her response was, because I don't like talking about what I do. People will be like, you're a Supreme Court Justice. It's like, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about, justice, making things right, being an advocate for people who need a voice, who don't have a voice. I want to talk about the things I love, because when you know what somebody loves, then you know who they really are. Have you articulated your love? It's been said that work is love made visible. Is your love made visible? Is it also made audible for you as your team? Can you, before you leave today, maybe afterwards, can you just remind each other, this is what I love about what we get to do together? And the more and more you speak that love, the more and more it'll be repeated, the more and more you will find yourself loving it, and the more and more people are going to want to joyfully rebel with you. Just do it with absurd amounts of love, over and over, because absurd times call for absurd amounts of love, and these be absurd times. We need you. So, with the dumpster fire ablazing, I've seen the news, but I've also seen you. So I have hope. Thank you for the way you're planting seeds, way you're showing up when it confuses everybody else. You are changing things. This is a joyful rebellion, and I am honored to be part of it with you. This is our planet. Not to scale, just to put a face on it so you feel better. There's 7.4 billion humans on it. 1.8 billion are younger than 15. In the next 60 seconds, 255 babies will be born. 4.3 births every second. And there's you. I'm happy you're here. Thank you.